Gamification. Don't do it. What? Everyone in the world is talking about the secret to engagement, games, this, that, everything is talking about gamification. And I just said, don't do it. That is counterintuitive. Now, why would I say don't do it? And it stems back to what is the even purpose of gamification? Now, every industry has different reasons for it, but what we're focusing on is online education, membership sites, engagement in coaching or consulting relationships, and in the specific areas I just mentioned, we don't want games. Our clientele don't want games. What they want is to get an outcome. So then if we examine what is the specific reason that we're ever even doing anything, and the reason is we want to create an outcome for the learner. We want to create an outcome for the client. And in fact, my company, our tagline is we produce better lives. And that happens because people come in, they learn, they're engaged, they actually then go out and do something to make a better life. So now let's reverse engineer this entire process I just set us up for and figure out why gamification doesn't work. So a learner comes into a platform and they log in, they go to lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, boom, they're going down the path, the desired path, so that person's fine. We don't have to address them. But the reality is only 3 to 12% of the people that buy courses online are finishing. So we just talk about a very small niche of total population that are fine by themselves. But what about the other 88%? Or let's reverse it and say, okay, out of 100 people, 88 are not going to get a result. So what is the thing that stops them? Well, I would argue that it's human nature because people buy things and then don't finish. They start things and don't finish, like the gym or diets. That's part of human nature. So, okay, we have a wide swath of the 88 that's human nature, and maybe the platform actually stinks, or there's no onboarding experience. So the customer experience, not so great. So that might be another thing that stops them. So then what can we do to overcome the 88 that are not getting through is we can actually set up an incentive, and that's the key. Not a game, an incentive. So what I like to call gamification in a new word is Prizification, where we offer a prize for people taking the action that we want to drive them through to completion. So what's the difference between gamification and prizification? Tough to say. It's the actual theory and concept and execution. So let's best describe how prizification works, and you'll see that that actually is the solution. So why not gamification? Because gamification is associated with levels and games of achieving here, you get this, it opens up this. So the philosophy behind it is appropriate for some industries like games. That's where that gamification comes from. But for adult learning, let's look at this next example. So we have 10 lessons. We want them to get through in 10 weeks, and they can go faster, which is the dual client pathway. However, we know that many of the people are logging in and not getting through the first or second lesson. We also know, and this is a fact, that if people get through 16% of our course, that 90% of them will then go on to complete. So where is that hurdle? That hurdle is in the 15, 14, 17, 18% of the course. Like that's the hump. So how do we get people over that hump? With an incentive or a prize. So let's take the example of 10 courses, and let's say lesson 2 is where people are getting stuck, 20%. So we can set up a simple set of expectations that basically says, if you complete lesson 3 within 3 weeks, you will get a 20% discount on our next product. If you complete lesson 3 within 3 weeks, you will get to gift the next product to somebody else. If you complete lesson 3 within 2 weeks, you'll get 20 points that you can utilize towards something else. So the entire philosophy is based on driving them through that hump with an incentive or a prize. And the great thing about it is that everyone can implement what I'm talking about, regardless of whether your platform has it built in or not. And that's the key to what we're talking about, is I want you to get an outcome. because I want you to take what we're doing, learn, do, apply, measure, and get better results. So how would you put this in? Well, here's the fun thing about Prizification is that whatever you can imagine, you can create. So whatever your industry is, it might be where, okay, I do a live event every year, or I do a live event twice a year, and I have my digital courses. So whoever gets through my third lesson within 3 weeks will get a VIP badge at my event. So I think now you're starting to see that you can actually be very creative and create the prize that will drive people through. That's what we call Prizification. So I hope you enjoyed this distinction. The most important thing about what we're talking about is you taking the information and trying it in your platform with your course or your membership and getting better results. I'll see you on the next nugget of information.